Hello everyone, my name is Riley with RDW Glass, and today in this video we're going to be going over how we create the lip wraps for the RDW Glass tubes. I have an RDW Glass tube in my hand right here. This is the lip wrap. We're going to show you just how to do one color. And this tube just sold. So RDW Glass tubes are pretty awesome. They have different colored lip wraps, or you can do it clear. We have built-in ash catchers to our piece. It was something that that was really important to me. You can have a built-in ash catcher, and you have the single hole percolation down there for a nice chug, because that's the hit, and I enjoy it. And then we have our base created using resin, the high glossy epoxy. So when you hit it into stuff, you don't hear like a tink. And I personally, I wash my pieces in a sink still, and I have lost pieces hitting the corner of the tubes onto some granite, or even if you just set your piece down wrong sometimes. I've had thin, fragile glass that does all that, but this is constant, it's hard. And you can also feel like more comfortable setting it down in like any type of terrain. Like you can feel more comfortable setting this down in rocks than you do glass, obviously. Same thing with like grass and dirt. Just set it down, wash it off. Yep, so this bad boy is sold. We have some more available. You just message me on Instagram. It's RDW_glass, and I'll get back to you about what tubes I have available. Please make sure you are subscribed to the channel and liking these videos if you're liking what you're seeing. Please remember to go to RDW_glass on Instagram, or you can go to RDW-glass.com. You can see our art available there. I'm going to flip the camera and I'm going to show you how I do my lip wraps for the RDW Glass tubes. Alright, so we have this tube here. See, it's long. I'll flip the camera again. Yeah, I can't fit in our kiln. It's longer than the kiln. So, first off, we need to shorten it. You can see we have different old candles sitting up top of the kiln. If you've ever had a candle warmer or like the scent warmers, that's what I use the kiln for. It smells delightful. Alright, okay, this tube, you see I put a mark with some permanent marker. If you see in one of our, not the last video, but I'm pretty sure the video before that, we talked about how you could use permanent marker on glass and it would stay there for a while. Now right here, what I just set this tube on top of is our hand lathe. This stuff out of the way. So move this stuff to the side. Cool. Alright. Now we created our hand lathe with some parts we got at Lowe's. So we have some bolts, we got some bearings off Amazon, skateboard bearings, and screws. And we got this nice metal long screw. We got these nice bolts right here, washers everywhere, and I will show you exactly how to make that in another video. But for now, I'm sure you get the point. Alright. See, because this is a lot of tube to just hold in your hand the whole time, so on bing, you just let it roll back and forth on there. Alright. So that permanent marker mark is for us to know where we want. It's pretty cool, your torch can move back and forth, very useful. Remember, propane first always. Now I still have to raise this handmade lathe thing. So what I do is I take some small blocks of 2x4s, put them down on there. Eventually, I'll make a slit in these, cut them down to a size, and it'll be a lot more comfortable with what's going on there. But for now, this works. Sometimes when something works, you just keep doing it. Actually, we're gonna move this over here. There. Nope. Set up like that. There we go. A little more comfortable with that. Alright. So we want this tube to be cut in 2 sections. And I like to make it to where one section is about 17 to almost 18 inches long, and another section is about 12 inches long to 13. So, and the reason you do that is because a lot of tubes that I sell, they're anywhere from, you know, a lot of the tubes that sell are like a foot big, or they're like 18 inches tall. We got to gradually bring up the heat. Remember when we were working with tubing that's bigger, you have to gradually work up the heat. Well, this is a lot bigger. This is 38 millimeter tubing. I'm pretty sure it's like 2 something millimeters thick, I think. 38 millimeter tubing, maybe 3 millimeters thick. Right. You can see we're putting more oxygen now. Blast it. So once I make those slits and put that all together, this will be a lot more stable too. Prototype number 1. Kind of probably just pull apart a little bit. We have this thing back here. What I just put the tube on, I'll show you. It was this. Helps get like a V cut. And I'm gonna switch this off onto one thing. Now we're gonna move this down off this. Right there. Take our small piece that we put that excess strap on, and we're gonna pull that excess strap off. Popping a little hole right there. When air goes down in there, it makes a weird noise. It's kind of cool. It's like tribal type of flute. So we're gonna set this piece with some extra heat on it. Remember that when you put that coat of soot, it's a coat of heat. That black stuff is just a coat of heat. Why do we do that? So the glass doesn't just shatter from going from, you know, over 1,000 degrees to right into room temperature. Oh, boom. Now you see it's coated. Put it over here. Keep it still somewhat in our flame volcano turbine. Now we're going to take this one. And we are going to pop this open as well. Alright, now this is the one we're going to actually use to make our lip wrap. And we're going to use the other one to make a lip wrap too eventually, which is probably not in this video. We are doing a clear lip wrap. You know, you can just work that for a little bit and then you're basically done. But we're gonna add some color to this one. little bit of green color. I believe this is paparazzi. Remember, this is coil potting. Do about 3 rows. And that looks like enough color. Remember, round off the ends, that way you don't have any flaws or anything that would possibly cut you. I'm going to show you a little bit of this red max. I'm going to kick up the heat with the bottom flame. Alright, we're turning this one off. Let's turn the big boy on. And we turn that big torch up so we can get a nice melt in there. I'm going to even turn our ventilation up a little bit because we're pumping out a lot more propane into the room. And we want that color to smooth out and have no creases. Because not only do you not want creases because it would feel weird on your lips, but also because there is smoke going through these, there will be resin. And if you have creases in the glass, then you have resin get stuck in the glass. And that is no good. Most of the time you see us use this as our paddle. Well, when we're working with the tubing, we crank out the bigger paddle. Everything to smooth out. Letting the heat go into the piece. You can see it shooting in there. It's because we want that inside of this to smooth out too. I'm using my bowl push here because, you know, a lot of these reamers, they have the rigid ends. My bowl push is the only one that's smooth all the way around. So I tend to use this for when I want these mouthpieces to be smoothed out. Even though this one has ridges, it still creates a smooth, situation there, but you will grow preferences. Oh yeah, this pillar is melting in perfectly. Now we got to work on making this round, that way it's comfortable when somebody puts their lips up against it. Now it's all smooth, so we got the comfort there. Now we want this to look circular. Oh yeah, we're getting there. Still. what I'm looking for. Now that we have this beautiful mouthpiece, we gotta take one of these and go back to that, coating it with heat, remember? And you coat it with as much heat as you can, because now that we made this mouthpiece with nice color on it, and it's very pretty and smooth, the last thing we want is for our hard work to just crack and break. And remember, when you're glass blowing, things are gonna crack and break and things are gonna shatter. But remember that it's never a waste of time, because it was a learning experience the whole time. The whole time you were learning, so it's never a waste of time. Just make sure you learn from your mistakes. I learned that if I don't sit here and do this for, you know, at least 2 minutes after I'm done making it, that it has a high possibility of cracking. So I try to sit here for as long as I can, and then once my arm's getting tired, especially since I've been creating the whole thing, sit it up on the lathe, our handmade lathe right there, and we'll just take our hands here and just kind of slightly turn, and now we'll put the flame directly on it. See, we want to... Oh, I also learned that once you start to bring down the heat, like once you're starting to get to just propane, kind of work the propane down the tube just slightly, because this was all hot too. You know, it wasn't just this that got hot. It was just this that we were working, but remember, all of this is all hot. So it's best to coat it with some heat down that way. That way, you know, it won't crack. Just the more precautions you can take for it to not crack, the better. And now I'm going to turn it to just propane, and I am going to just kind of let it roast there for a second. I'm even going to turn it this way, just that way the heat kind of shoots inside a little bit. And that is how we create the lip wraps for the RDW glass tubes. So we take it from, you know, we have that long piece of tubing. We have some more here. Let's grab this out. We have a whole long piece of tubing, and then we take that and split it up into the sections that we want, and then from there we set one to the side, and then we get right to work on the other one. Now, the reason that we popped a small hole in this side is so that when we work on the mouthpiece of this, we can actually close it off and blow air into it. So when we make mouthpieces or anything to smooth out glass the quickest, you close it off, push air into it while you're using a marver, and at that point you get a nice smooth, you know, anything, smooth piece of glass. So for this smaller piece, that's exactly what we'll do. We will hold this like this. Once this cools down, we'll hold it like this, and we'll be able to do the lip wrap there, and we'll close it off, close this off, and we'll, you know, blow air into this, pop it, and then this will be our next, you know, mouthpiece. Remember the hot ends always go away from you. So we've been letting this piece roast for a little bit. We're going to keep doing that. Remember, stay hydrated. RDW glass stickers are for sale on every single platform that you sell something on. It's a website, or Etsy, or eBay. And you can always ask for anything over Instagram, direct message, and I'll get back to you very quickly. Stay hydrated. Alright. I think that has been roasting for long enough. Got a toasted marshmallow layer. And we'll cut it. And that'll be the last thing we're making today, but if it wasn't, we would set it back here, just kind of like we did with this, and keep it in the general vicinity of where our heat is. that was how we create the mouthpieces for the RDW glass tubes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. I'm going to flip the camera so you can see the support board. Thank you for your support. Here we have our website, it's rdw-glass.com. Here we have our Instagram, it's rdw_glass, and our Etsy, RDW Co. Thank you guys so much for supporting my art. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. Peace, guys. Happy melting.